Do you want to know the secrets behind multi-million-dollar Facebook and Instagram advertising campaigns? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 pillars that you need to have in order for you to have a really successful social media ad campaign for your business. Hey everybody, Hernan Vazquez here with ScaleDriven.com. I hope that everyone is doing really well. And today, I want to share with you 3 pillars, the 3 pillars that I've learned that you need to have, you must have them in order for you to run a successful advertising campaign on Facebook and Instagram, otherwise known as Meta. Now, I've been running Facebook and Instagram ads, otherwise known as Meta ads, for the past several years. In fact, I think I'm close to 8 or 9 years now of running these type of ads. And throughout my career, I've spent a lot of money. Actually, we're close to spending $70 million on these advertising campaigns, and we generated over $200 million in revenue, trackable, attributable revenue to our campaigns for our businesses and for our clients. And today, I want to share with you the 3 pillars of every successful advertising campaign, whether it is a campaign that we run for ourselves, whether it is a campaign that we run for our clients at ScaleDriven.com, or whether it is a campaign that I've seen run and that I see other people run. You want to have these 3 pillars in mind, because if you miss one of these pillars, it's like a stool. It's like a 3-legged stool, right? One of these pillars cannot live with the other. So a 3-legged stool, you know, if you take a leg out of it, it's gonna fall, and you don't want your campaigns to fall. And a campaign to fall will be that you will basically lose and waste money. So I don't want that to happen to you. Now, if any of this sounds interesting, feel free to share, comment, you know, send this to somebody that needs to see this. Maybe you're running ads for yourself, maybe you have an advertising team, so send this video to them and see what they say about it. But most importantly, if you want to see if we can do something similar to you and for you, go to ScaleDriven.com. We have a little message there, and if it resonates with you, feel free to schedule a call with one of my team members, and then on that call we'll ask you a bunch of questions to see if we will be a good fit. If we're a good fit, we'll tell you. If we're not a good fit, we'll also tell you. In any case, it's not like a high pressure call or anything like that. We're pretty chill on that regard, because we cannot serve everyone, right? We can only take a handful of accounts every single month, and I want to make sure that we can actually help you and serve you in the high degree possible and the high level possible. So go ahead, go to ScaleDriven.com and schedule a call, and we'll see if we're a good fit. Okay, so let's jump into my screen share so that I can share with you the 3 pillars of every multi-million successful advertising campaign that I run. Now, does this mean that you need to be spending multi-million dollars or several million dollars on advertising to make this work? No, this applies to any type of budget. Once you have these 3 pillars, you will be able to scale as much as you would like. But these are the 3 pillars of any successful advertising campaign. It doesn't matter the budget. All right, so let's jump into the screen and I'll share them with you. Okay, so let's go through the 3 pillars of any successful advertising campaign. All right, so pillar number 1 has to do with targeting. All right, you want people that are interested in what you have to offer to actually be able to see your ads. Okay, so targeting is really important, and sometimes people get hang up on this and they overcomplicate targeting. But targeting, it's kind of a big deal, especially when you're starting a campaign. In another video that you can see in my channel, and you can see somewhere around here, I talked about the 3 phases of an advertising campaign. Okay, and on phase number 1, when you're just starting your advertising campaign, you need to be really specific when it comes to targeting. And the reason why you want to be really specific when it comes to targeting, and you want to always talk to your ideal audience, it's because initially your Facebook pixel, especially if it's a new campaign or a new offer, you don't have a lot of data, right? The more data you have and the more data you collect through the proper use of Facebook pixel and tracking and whatnot, which we will talk about in a minute, the better your targeting and the easier your targeting will become, because now Facebook's understand who your ideal audience is. So the first thing is always targeting. Now, what I like to call here, it's a term that I learned from Alex Becker, which is called our DA audience. Okay, DA audience meaning that if these folks don't buy from you, nobody will. All right. So for example, at scale-driven.com, we use a lot of other entrepreneurs, other influencers, other business owners, people that like, for example, social media management or social media advertising, people that are into advertising in some other brands. So think about your DAW audience. Think about maybe some books, maybe some authors, maybe some publications, maybe some schools, and put them in a list so that you can actually target them. Because again, if you don't have the right targeting, the other two pillars are not going to work. So pillar number one is targeting. You want to have this on point, especially if your campaign is new, if your targeting is new, if your pixel is new, if everything is new and you're just starting out, you want to have your targeting in place. Okay, so let's talk about pillar number two, which goes hand in hand with targeting. Pillar number two is messaging. All right, so pillar number one is who you're going to be showing your ads to. Pillar number two has to do with what are you going to be saying on your ads. Now, differently from other platforms that you can run advertising on, generally speaking, Facebook and Instagram ads are both creative heavy and copy heavy. What do I mean? Is that you really can go ham with the amount of copy that you add to your ads, meaning the amount of written text that you have in your ads, and also you can use video ads and you can make them as long as you want, basically. So here's something that I always say when it comes to your messaging, and this is again something that I learned from Frank Kern, is that your messaging, what you're saying on the ads, it needs to be magnetic, right? Magnetic to those people that you want to work with, and it needs to be repellent to those people that you don't want to work with. Okay, so think about if you have to talk to your ideal audience, right, your DAW audience, meaning these people that if they don't buy from you, nobody will, what you're going to say on the copy, what you're going to say on the actual body of the ad, what you're going to say on the video, if you're using videos, or on the image, because you can have a little text on the image, what you're going to say there so that your ad becomes magnetic to those people that you want to work with, and it repels those people that you don't want to work with. For example, generally speaking, at scale-driven.com, we do a lot of B2B coaching and high ticket offers, right? So for example, I had a client at scale-driven.com and he sold coaching and guidance for CEOs and CTOs and COOs, meaning C-suite level executives that were close to retirement and they wanted to buy a business, right? So they were 40, 45 years old, they were close to retirement, they had a really good position, they were making really good money, but they didn't want it to go all the way to retirement without having something by their own, or something for their own, or something that they could leave to their family and whatnot. So his offer was really specific. Again, C-suite level executives with a high net worth or high household income, right? And they wanted to buy a business, and my client will come in and help them buy the business and whatnot. So we had to craft the messaging in a way that was magnetic to these people and was repellent to everyone else, right? So what did we do? Well, we actually went deep into understanding what were their fears, what were their concerns, what were their desires, why they wanted to buy a business, why they were concerned about just, you know, just going the whole way and just getting the golden watch and whatnot. What were their actual fears and whatnot? And we wrote copy and we created videos around that. So another example, at scale-driven.com, we also help another client that he has a high ticket coaching program for chiropractors. He helped them build their practice. So what do we say on the ads? Attention chiropractors that want to build their practice, or attention chiropractors that want to grow their practice, or attention chiropractors that want to get more sales using online methodologies. So your copy, your images need to be magnetic to your ideal audience, and they want to be repellent to those people that you don't want to work with. So if you don't want to work with, let's say, people that are just starting out, just say that in your ads. We don't serve people that are just starting out, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's that you just don't serve them, right? So your messaging needs to be on point. And as I mentioned on that video on the different stages of a campaign, the more you collect data on your Facebook pixel and the better your tracking is, the more you can quote unquote graduate from obsessing into targeting to obsessing about messaging. And that's a big graduation, because as you get more data in your Facebook pixel, your targeting actually becomes easier, and now your messaging starts taking more and more prominence. Which takes me to the third pillar, which is also really important, because again, as a three-legged stool, if you don't have the three pillars, this ain't gonna work. So the third pillar that you want to have is tracking. Okay, tracking has become so important. It's always been important, okay? It has always been important, especially since, you know, Facebook released the Facebook Pixel and the machine learning capabilities behind the Facebook Pixel and the Meta Pixel now. But tracking has become even more important after iOS 14, because most of the people that are going to be seeing your ads and they're going to be going through your landing pages, they're going to be buying your products or services, they're going to be rocking some sort of iOS device, and you want to track those people. So generally speaking, we like to use a third-party tracking, okay? So third-party tracking software or solution. All right, so third-party tracking, in our case, we like to use Hyros from Alex Becker, or we like to use AnyTrack. We like to use those third-party tracking. We also have a decent amount of experience with a software called TripleWell. It's really good for e-commerce. So whatever it is that your budget allows, or whatever it is that you want to do, you definitely want to have third-party tracking. Why? Because otherwise, if you don't have the proper tracking, two things will happen. Number one, you will be basically flying blind. You won't be able to see on the Facebook dashboard what campaigns and ad sets you can scale, where you can spend more money on, which should you not be spending more money on. So you will basically be flying blind. And third-party tracking softwares and whatnot, they're generally more accurate than just the Facebook Pixel, okay? So you want to have tracking. But number two, which I think it's more important, is that these third-party tracking softwares, they send data back to the Facebook Pixel, okay? So they send data back to the Facebook Pixel, which means that you will be able to graduate faster from these different campaign levels, okay? You will be able to graduate fast. You will be able to graduate faster from targeting to messaging, because now you have a proper tracking and attribution, and you're not only doing this for analytic purposes, but you're also doing this so that your Facebook Pixel can become smarter and smarter and smarter, and you can spend more and more money profitably, okay? So tracking has become, I would say, a must, even from the get-go. You know, I get this question a lot, which is like, at what point I should hire or get a third-party tracking software to install on my campaigns? And I would say from the get-go, because if you don't have tracking properly in place, you will be missing out on a lot of data. You want to be able to scale, and most importantly, you want to be able to feed data back into the Facebook Pixel the right way, okay? So if you have these three pillars in place, number one, targeting the right audience, especially at the beginning. Number two, messaging, what you're saying on the ads, and the more you spend, the most important, and the more important that becomes, because you want to be magnetic to your ideal audience, and you want to repel those people that you want to work with. And tracking is the pillar that's kind of working behind the scenes to make this a reality for you. So if you apply these three pillars, you will be able to spend $100 a day, $1,000 a day, or $10,000 a day effectively, because it all comes down to these three pillars. And again, based on spending a lot of money on advertising, I can tell you that no campaign can work without these three pillars. So make sure that these three pillars are good to go on your campaigns. And if you have any questions about running Meta ads, or how to make more money with your campaigns, or increasing your revenue, just leave them on the comments somewhere around this piece of content. I will be more than happy to answer. We read all of the comments, we answer all of the questions that come our way, so feel free to shoot them our way. We will be more than happy to answer them. And if you find this helpful, feel free to share this with somebody that needs to see this. Maybe you have an internal team that needs to see this. Maybe you have a media buyer. Maybe you are a media buyer. Maybe you want to get better at Facebook and Meta ads. Well, don't forget to share this and subscribe and comment, because it will really help us grow, and I will be more than grateful for that action. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.